Oh, okay, we're live here. So let's try and um, 1 second, everybody. Okay, join live on Zoom if you feel called. There is the link for those who are watching the replay. These happen weekly. Sometimes we miss a week, but the intention is to do this weekly. And you can join in on Zoom and ask your questions live. And if you want to get in the updates about when this is happening, then please go to dantestarshine.com and sign up for the email list. And it's on the front page. Make sure it doesn't go to your spam. That will give you the link and the announcement of the stream. I usually like to announce them 4 or 5 days in advance. Sometimes it happens a little bit last minute because, especially in the summer when I'm traveling, I'm not exactly sure what's happening all the time. um, so anyway, welcome, and you're feel free to ask your questions in the chat today, or ask your questions aloud. You'll get a more clear answer if you do it in that way. And if you're interested in what I offer, I do personal channeling sessions that go a lot deeper into material that might help you in your own healing and transformation process, and can process some of those more personal things. You can bring personal content into these sessions, though we ask that you frame your question in a way, that you word it in such a way that it can be beneficial for everybody. And so we ask in that way that we don't go into several minutes more of backstory, and consider what is the core of this question and how can I ask it in a way that will benefit everybody, so that we create really great content and a really good stream of energy that we're all co-creating for those who come to watch on YouTube. So I thank you for that, and thank you for being here. And um, make sure you're muted when you're not speaking. And DanteStarshine.com has information on my sessions, my channeling class, the channeled book, Guidebook to Living Love on Earth, and a lot more free goodies. So make sure to check that out. And donations are welcome for these sessions, but not required. If you feel like giving back some love to support the Zoom and the time and energy that goes into this, I really appreciate it. So you can find the information on the contact/book a session page on DanteStarshine.com. And today we'll go for about 1 hour, more or less. So I'll see you on the other side, unless I'm forgetting something before we begin, which I don't think I am. Okay. Then I will see you on the other side and hope you enjoy the transmission. Hello, and we say a fantastic day to you at this moment of your time. We are the Pleiadian Council, and we thank you for allowing this transmission to take place. It is a gift, it is a blessing, and an honor to be able to share with you. So we thank you for giving us this opportunity, as is an opportunity in both directions, for you and for ourselves. Together we grow deeper in connection with the source through the reflections that we offer each other. So we reflect gratitude, unconditional love, and appreciation onto you. And now we will open with a message today and lead later into some of your questions and dialogues that you might want to share with us. We, first of all, want to say that you are in very exciting times on your planet, and there is a rapid increase in the rate of change of consciousness. This is related to many things, and it is important to stay on the tip of the wave, to allow yourself to ride that wave and stay connected to the current, to not let yourself be pulled under. More and more waves come that will carry you further and further into higher frequency energies. Though what you may find in this growth is that there is a sense of less stability and more fluidity. And you can surrender to this state without losing your grounding. What is being destabilized is the hold of certain belief systems about who you are and how your reality works. Those of you tuned into this are on the leading edge, allowing for new codes, new information, new ideas, and new beliefs to enter into your system, to become a part of your personal reality. And gradually over time, these new codes and new beliefs will spread out through you and from you. And your active participation in doing what you love to do is a key part in that process. Is what we share is the formula of acting on your highest passion to the best of your ability with zero insistence on any particular outcome. Today, we would like to talk about belief systems and how you can create a space of compassion for your own belief systems and those of others. So you are conditioned by your world. You are taught certain things about who you are and how the world works. You also have experiences, and after you experience certain things, you start to generate your own beliefs. If you succeeded wildly, you might develop beliefs that support your self-confidence. When you fail and you don't receive support in integrating that experience, you might develop beliefs in your own lack of worthiness or capacity. And you have to challenge all of these levels of belief within yourself. We've talked much about this process. And we want to point out, before we go further, that there are many levels at which beliefs are programmed. There is your personal conditioning from what you experience from your family, what you experience from your education process, the subliminal programming you get from entertainment, news, and media. And there are also the conclusions that you jump to about yourself. This falls within your personal reality in that you internalize it personally. Yet some of these ideas are coming from a collective consciousness. The collective consciousness works through the media and the news and works through other people so as to impose its beliefs and its ideas for better and for worse on everybody. There are some positive collectively held beliefs, ideas of being a good person, being kind to others, and generally being aware and courteous are some positive collectively held beliefs. Every culture expresses them a little bit differently. Yet there are also negative collectively held beliefs. And these beliefs will often have to do with a sense of insufficiency or lack, a sense that one has to mold oneself to certain standards in order to be approved or successful or meet certain criteria. The collective consensus of belief tends to divide along particular lines. These are the lines of political belief, spiritual belief, and aesthetic preference. There are, of course, nuances, though these are the general big dividing lines. And when a group of people starts to specialize into a collective identity, they create what you might consider, or what you might want to term, if it resonates with you, a reality tunnel. The reality tunnel is a set of very specific beliefs that make up that culture, that religious group, that political group, or whatever it may be. These specialized beliefs start to become second nature to those who seek to adhere to the group. And these specialized beliefs are, in a sense, required in order to be accepted into that group. When these beliefs are constantly reinforced by one's participation in that group or culture, one starts to cease questioning them. And eventually, it becomes far more difficult to conceive of other people's realities and other people's experiences outside of that group. Those watching this video might have certain beliefs that they have internalized from spiritual teachings or new age concepts or the teachings and wisdom from channeled beings. Even these ideas can be a sort of reality tunnel. There are many nuances and many different subgroups within these spiritual fields with their own specific beliefs and their own specific reality tunnels. We like to point this out to make sure that you understand that even cooperating with the formula and internalizing that as your own story is accepting a belief system. But this is a positive belief system. And the difference between many of the belief systems that are encouraged to be adopted by many of these groups and the formula is that the formula puts all of the power in your own hands and heart, really. Act on your own highest excitement to the best of your own ability without insisting on any outcome. This attitude points you back to yourself as the one whose opinion is most relevant and whose preference is most important. You choose, and in this sense, this belief or this idea of the formula is allowing all who come into contact with the teachings from us and similar channeled beings to be the one who chooses and directs their experience. You don't have to adopt any of the other stories and beliefs that we share if they don't resonate with you. If they do, they can be yours. We in the channel are also not trying to create a cult or organization or something of this nature. And so our intention is to help you understand that you consciously choose and create your own experience. And when you tap into the source within you, you can create an absolutely blissful experience without really needing to adapt and adopt all of these rules and beliefs from other reality tunnels outside of yourself. Now, however, you still must exist in a world with other people who have vastly different experiences according to what they have adopted from the narratives that have been told to them, according to what groups that they want to adhere to, according to the culture they were born into and the culture that they choose to associate with. And therefore, we want you to understand that those who adapt a very rigid belief system because they've adopted it from the collective, from the very general blueprints of how reality works that most people internalize, or from a more specific religion, political group, or anything of this nature, their way of seeing things is limited by all of the beliefs that they have adopted. And many of the beliefs that you may be developing in your process of ascension, of individuation, of self-actualization, of spiritual evolution, all of these concepts come together very nicely. And as you progress in this way, you will find that you have more empowering beliefs. You have less fear-based beliefs. You don't feel as limited. You don't feel as if you have to be a particular way. Things that were once taboo for you start to feel acceptable without a sense of giving away your responsibility. You come to embrace all of your own needs and desires and the creative energy within you that seeks to express itself. Many people will not be able to understand this level of freedom, this level of spontaneous bliss, this level of natural excitement that needs no material gain or ego validation in order to exist as divine bliss. And you may find yourself attempting to convince others that these new beliefs that give you a sense of spiritual connection and personal freedom are the correct beliefs. Though, if you are not open to putting yourself in their shoes, but more literally behind their eyes, seeing the world the way that they see the world, and you attempt to empower them with your new beliefs, you create a conflict. Oftentimes, without doing this, you start to look down upon others. Or if you get domineered in such situations, you might start to look up to others and allow them, give them the opportunity to look down on you. And so it is very important at a point on your path that you learn how to cooperate with the belief systems that are not compatible with your own. And that's the first step. It's to recognize that sometimes where other people are at, their beliefs are truly incompatible with yours. And there are nonetheless still ways of relating. You can gravitate towards what your common interests really are and allow that to be a space where love can flourish. You can imagine for a moment that you see the world the way they see the world and play along with their storylines so that you can offer them some love and connection in the process. You can hold your heart open and challenge their beliefs only if you remain neutral Remember that neutral, balanced energy is the energy that allows the formula to work. That is the no insistence on a particular outcome. It's the state of equanimity that accepts the results, whether it fulfills the original intention or not. It understands that whatever results come, there is a lesson, and therefore there is a growth process that is taking place, and one must be appreciative of that. When you can live in that state of neutrality, you can cooperate with other people, even if they exist in a totally different reality tunnel. Now, this cooperating with incompatible beliefs is also something that you must do within yourself. You may want to present to the world an image of yourself that represents only a portion of your belief systems. In fact, most people do this. Almost everyone does this. There are very few in your world that are truly this awake. And when you present a version of yourself that only represents some of your belief systems, what naturally happens is that the belief systems that are not represented in that portrayal of yourself will start to get louder to get your attention. The moment after you find yourself very successfully and confidently sharing your gifts with the world, you may find yourself returning home to your bedroom to feel all of the fear that was suppressed rising to the surface and crippling you for a moment. And this is why it's very important that you also make peace with your own negative belief systems. Sometimes when people get into bad moods, they attempt to battle what they are experiencing by simply pushing it away. Pushing things away with substances, with distracting behaviors, with relationships and social interactions of a lower vibrational nature are all ways of strengthening the negative beliefs that you were attempting to fight, because you are feeding them energy that validates their position. Instead, you have to learn how to choose a neutral attitude towards these negative beliefs and acknowledge that they are there, accept that they are there, and come to understand why these beliefs are there. Understand that every single belief is in your system because that belief has a positive intent at its core. The belief considers that it is trying to help you. It creates chaos in your life because it believes that this chaos has some positive purpose. You have to understand within every specific belief, what is the positive intention there? Beliefs that cause you to self-sabotage do so because they believe that if you really get that one thing that's so important to you, that the rug will be pulled out beneath your feet and pain will ensue. This belief is based on a past experience that is not necessarily true. And you must challenge it, but you cannot challenge it if you don't first acknowledge it. Allow yourself to open to these belief systems that limit you and get to know why they are trying to protect you. And then you can connect with the positive beliefs and the protective beliefs that always work to steer you away from looking at the negative beliefs. This is often helpful, but sometimes the beliefs you consider positive are actually protective negative beliefs. They think that they are helping you by pushing away bigger and more painful negative belief systems. These tricky protective belief systems work with a false positivity that assumes that if all attention goes to these protective beliefs and these protective behaviors, that the negative belief will just drop away. And you can see these false positive beliefs in people who you might consider very neurotic, obsessive compulsive, uptight, and so on. These people display an immense amount of false positive beliefs. They have many ideas of how to prevent negative things from happening in their life. Yet, when their plan doesn't work out the way that they want it to, and something gets in the way, causing one of their fears to manifest, you see how quickly these people lose it. And you see how much all of these false positive beliefs are not really helping them. They're simply creating a stronger and tighter web that entangles them, and they don't know they are stuck in it. So the magic happens when you are able to create a state of cooperation between these false positive beliefs and the negative beliefs they are convincing you to look away from. Acknowledge both of them and understand what the core intention is within each of them. When you understand their intentions and see that their intentions are not that different, it will be able, or you will be able, to dissolve their conflict and allow cooperation to emerge between them. The same thing ultimately happens when you meet others who have different belief systems with you. When you can come to understand why they are doing what they're doing and what their core intention is, and see how that intention might be similar to your intention, that is a great place and a great way to build the common ground between you. So we want you to imagine now a group of people who believe something totally oppositional to your own beliefs. Perhaps it is a certain political party. Perhaps it is a religion you're familiar with or one that you left. Perhaps it is a group of people that you find yourself confused by or judging. And now we want you to imagine that you are a leader in that group of people. You are a leader and you're giving a talk. You are surrounded by all of these people who believe something very different from you. And you are now in their field, operating under their story. Take a moment to consider all of the beliefs that they've internalized that have made them see the world the way they see it. Take a moment to consider the experiences that led up to adopting all of these beliefs. Look at certain issues that are important to you through the lens of their belief. And notice how, according to these belief systems, something very different is present when you look at the same phenomena. Can you find compassion? Can you find acceptance for these people? even though your worldviews are miles apart. Can you feel the spiritual essence at the core that is beyond belief? Return back to your own being and to your own perspective and feel the shift. The more you become capable of imagining the reality of other people around you, and you match this with your intuitive sense, you will eventually get to a place in which you instantly know what is possible within the realm of their beliefs and what is not possible. To really cooperate and do it well, you don't want to insert one of your beliefs that is going to be absolutely rejected. Instead, you want to find the common ground and then play with how far you can stretch them outside of their beliefs. Note that this is impossible when you insist on being right. And this is why there is so much fighting in your world. That so many different groups of people want to convince others that they are right and others are wrong. And the new perspective that will help the new earth really anchor is that according to each individual's beliefs, everything is true. Your beliefs tell you what is true and what is right and what is wrong. Beyond belief, right and wrong don't exist. Truth does exist beyond belief. Yet every belief is a true belief. Just because it's true doesn't mean it's positive. It's true because it is self-fulfilling, self-validating, and self-reinforcing. Positive or negative is another dimension to it, because there could be a wrong belief out there. There are only belief systems that are true, self-fulfilling, and self-validating. Therefore, self-reinforcing. So, approaching your beliefs and other people's beliefs with this understanding allows you to be compassionate to yourself and others in the process, and then allows you to bring yourself and others to question. This belief may be true, but is it positive or is it negative? Does it help me feel love or does it lead me to feel fear? We thank you for allowing us to share this message with you today, and we ask in which ways can we be of service to you with your questions, comments, musings, and inquiries, beginning whenever you would wish.
Thank you so much, Pleiadians, for such a profound transmission today. The first question today is, can you recommend some primary beliefs for us to take in and focus on with what is going on currently in the world?
First belief we would encourage you to suggest is that I create my own experience of reality. And note that we say you create your own experience of reality, meaning there is a collective reality, yet within the experience of a soul, and especially an incarnate soul, you don't fully get the collective experience of reality. You get your own version of the collective experience of reality. And one thing that many people struggle with so powerfully at this time is that they download information and emotions from the collective that they don't need. They only do this because they have a belief system that says this is the right thing to do, Sometimes people do this because they believe that they are helping or that it's a helpful thing to do. But remember, if you match a low vibration energy in the collective with your own low vibration energy, you're making the problem bigger. So crying about the rainforest being destroyed is adding more tears to the world that don't need to be there. Crying about other people's pain is adding more pain to the process. And therefore, you need to bring yourself to orient towards love-based actions. Doing genuine activism work about saving the rainforest is helpful, but sitting alone crying about it is self-destructive and is also invoking more harm to the collective. The same is true about any issue. Another belief we would encourage you to adopt is that like vibration attracts like vibration. And whether or not you want it to happen, when you spend time in an atmosphere, the information is being imprinted on your field. With conscious awareness of your own inner being, you can regulate yourself and make sure that you don't take imprints that you don't want. But this takes time and energy. Therefore, the most important thing for you to do is to surround yourself with people, with ideas, and put yourself in places that have a positive vibration and leaves a positive imprint on your field. The more you do this, the more easy it will be to stay in that positive state most of the time, or almost all of the time. We could say a lot more, but that is a good foundation.
All right, thank you so much. Let's see if anyone on Zoom has some live questions.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes,
How are you guys doing?
we are fantastic. And you?
Pretty good. It's been intense since beginning of 2024, but it's quite a journey, positive journey, learning, growing.
Yes. Well, we're glad you're using it in a positive way.
Yeah. Like, so you said that truth is not a belief. Is that what you said? Is it a knowing? Like, what's a
Truth is
knowing?
knowing is a sort of truth, yes. What we said is that all beliefs are true. Truth is something of a there are degrees of truth. Everything is true to some degree. It's just a matter if is it fully true or is it sort of true? Is it partially true? Is it not really true? It's getting yourself out of the dualistic way of thinking that things are right or that they are wrong. Because again, that is a belief system that gives you an experience of right or wrong. And instead recognizing that there's a spectrum, there is a continuum, there are varying levels of truth, there are varying levels of love, and many other frequencies.
So like a knowing is, well, how would you describe that?
Knowing is a state beyond belief. When you connect deeply in your heart to the frequency of source, there is a sense of knowing that that energy comes from source and that you are one with that source. This is what we would refer to as the highest state of knowing. Knowing also is an intuitive state in which you get a sense of certain information and you know it to be true. It comes through your field as a sense of relaxation, awe, wonder, or bliss that rests in your heart or in your crown, or someplace in between. That is a sort of intuitive knowing. Though, when you develop that deeper level of knowing, the knowing of the connection of source, the intuitive knowing is the natural result.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That
The more you
resonates.
come to know and practice knowing your source, the more spontaneously intuitive knowledge may come to you.
Yeah, I've been practicing my connection to source, like daily in the morning, just to just to see and experiment and have fun with it. But there's certain things where like also people question, like, I have conversations with a lot of people and they're like I started learning all these spiritual concepts, like you choose your birthday, your archetype, your character and all that stuff. And then when I tell people this, how do you know? And I'm like, I learned it and then it's a knowing for me and it's a knowing, but they're questioning themselves too, like how do I know and how do I know my previous lives? Like for me, the knowing, but for them, like it's a really good question. I question that too. It's just, it just becomes questionable when you don't really know, but you like knowing facts, but in your heart.
Well, with people who are starting off on this journey, we would encourage you to take it lightly and be playful with them.
Mm-hmm.
And to also encourage people to play with ideas. What if you assumed this was true? How would you feel? How would that change how you saw yourself? How would that change the way that you lived each day? Then play with the opposite. What if this weren't true? How would that change how you feel? And how would that change how you live? Play with the difference between this. And then bring yourself to orient towards the more positive. Some people will feel challenged by this because they might live under a belief system that says they must constantly prove that they are safe and not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, challenge them. Challenge them to consider, what if it was all about what my beliefs brought me to feel? And that by choosing positive beliefs, I will feel positive things. And by feeling positive feelings, I will have positive experiences. And by having repeated positive experiences day after day, that positive vibration will become my baseline. And by making this positive vibration my baseline, I will be able to uplift other people into that positive vibration. And by more and more people being uplifted into that positive vibration, the whole world will change. And therefore, whether or not this is right or wrong doesn't matter. Me choosing this belief and choosing to see things in this way that leads me to feel more positive is going to have a positive effect on all beings. And therefore, whether or not I can prove it, I still know it is a better choice.
No, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Yes.
Another note is on negative. Like, for example, like not negative, but like this guy said, well, I like the taste of, it feels good to have ice cream. So I'm continue. When do I stop? And I'm like, well, like, for a fact, like ice cream's not good for you. We're just playing around with positive feelings and how we sometimes
Well, how do you know ice cream is not good for you?
I kind of just said like it's based on science, like that our it causes diabetes and all that stuff, and then he kind of like, okay, agree, and we stopped the subject. But those are the kinds of things that we
Does
play
it
with
always
when I
give you diabetes? The channel
No,
loves
that's not
ice cream. He
true,
does not
but
have diabetes.
I know it doesn't always give you
Maybe somebody
diabetes,
who
but
eats only ice cream and doesn't have an active lifestyle will get diabetes after years of having a pint of ice cream every day.
yeah.
But if you want to have ice cream a couple of times a week and you otherwise take care of your body, have the ice cream. Treat
Yeah.
yourself. Enjoy it. Savor it. Let that be an experience of your excitement and passion. Let that be an embrace of your human sensuality. How do you know when to stop? Your body will tell you when it's full. Of course, if you don't eat nourishing food and then you go right to ice cream, you might not know how to stop. But the little things that you do that might not be the best don't matter as much if you do a lot of things that are very positive for you most of the time. And those of you who struggle so much with bad habits must note that the bad habits only take over because you don't have any good habits. If you had good habits, the bad habits wouldn't have space to fill. So instead of focusing on getting rid of the bad habits, focus on the good ones and have ice cream here and there because it brings sweetness to your life.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Oh, I thanks to you as well. But remember, finally, that you must be giving your life the emotional sweetness of a lot of love. Because sometimes people gravitate towards this external sweetness of ice cream and candies because they don't feel that love.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, not ice cream itself.
Well, yeah, totally agree. Does a continuous like thought becomes a belief, or is a continuous? Would you say a continuous thought becomes a belief?
Once you start believing that thought, it becomes a belief. So you can't repeat again and again, I am skinny when you weigh 350 pounds, and use that thought alone to change your belief and change your reality. But if that thought is matched with exercise, diet, and other mindfulness and meditation practices to reprogram oneself over a period of time, then that thought will help very much. But again, thought alone is not enough. And belief alone is not enough either. Remember that
Right.
beliefs are powerful because beliefs lead to your behaviors, and action is the language of physical reality. And the actions you take will bring about the return of their own karmas, according to certain ways of saying it. The vibration of your action is imprinted on your being and therefore will return on to you. All that you do is return to you multiplied. So that's again why, if the belief idea is confusing for you and you're not fully mastering it yet, don't obsess with it and return to the formula. Act on your highest passion to the best of your ability without insisting on an outcome. Working on your beliefs is just one part of that formula that relates to doing it to the best of your ability, because you can't do your best until you change your beliefs. But if you find yourself very confused and spiraling on belief systems, just focus on positive actions. And when you repeat positive actions enough, you'll find that you automatically change beliefs without doing so many other processes. Yet, for those who are, for all of you rather, there comes times when it is necessary to introspect and really reflect on what those beliefs are.
Thank you so much for the explanation.
Oh, thanks to you as well.
Hi, Pleiadians. I have a little follow-up question of what you mentioned about knowing versus believing. I've been playing around a little bit with eliciting things that I know to be true, not on a belief level. Sort of, how do I represent that in terms of my thoughts, feelings, and so on and so forth, and using that as sort of a permission slip of then once I've elicited that, then transferring that from a belief into a knowing. Can you talk about that specific permission slip or recommend anything other in terms of turning a belief into a knowing?
Beliefs become knowings when there is no longer anything that can counter them. To a certain extent, beliefs are always self-validating. They will prove themselves to be true. So when you believe something, it feels as if you know it to be true. What you can really come to know is far beyond belief. The greatest state of knowing is knowing the source. Yet in that knowing, there comes a greater level of intellectual unknowing. This is why some mystics referred to that state of coming closer and closer to divinity to be entering the cloud of unknowing. You know the big picture absolute, yet by energetically tapping into that, the immense limitations of your human intellect become revealed. And therefore, the best things to know relate to what is divine and what is non-dual and beyond this human realm. That is the spiritual essence that is contained within you, that you can tap into through the dance of your life. And if you can come to know this, what you will really come to know is that all beliefs are optional. You will eventually go beyond this human realm and experience things that are beyond the belief of humans. When you are born into spirit or when you die, you go beyond so many of these limitations of human experience. And beliefs are to an extent transcended as you tap into more subtle layers of your spiritual energy field. We say this because perhaps the answer really is that you cannot know your beliefs, but you can know the backdrop of consciousness or spirit that all of these beliefs are painted upon. In that sense, reality is a giant canvas with these small paintings on each window of personal souls. The paintings are the beliefs, but you can paint over any of them at any time that you wish. Therefore, you can't really know your beliefs because they are constantly changing, upgrading, and refining. And that is how it really ought to be.
Okay, wow, so beautiful. We got a couple of raised hands in the Zoom room, so let's see who's got some questions.
All right.
Hello, Pleiadians. Thank you for this transmission.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
So two questions, actually, a follow-up to what you just talked about. So this is fascinating about the backdrop. You're talking about the backdrop of consciousness. So could that be considered what is our intuition? As far as like
intuition arises out of the backdrop of consciousness and is a level above the intellect, but it's not the same.
Okay. So our belief system, may I, is it correct that you said that is kind of what's painted on top of this backdrop of consciousness? So how does intuition then fit into that kind of construct, if you will?
The backdrop of consciousness or spirit is the essence of who you are.
Mm.
You can tap into it within your own heart. There is a very subtle layer, that spark of the divine in the very center of your being, and that peace and spaciousness in your heart that happens in states of meditation, in states of deep flow, in states of total surrender, is tapping into that source, tapping into the backdrop.
Mm.
Everything, all of your experiences, thoughts, and actions are painted upon that canvas. That very essence of you at your core is what everything else is built upon and radiates out from. So as you go through this process of evolution spiritually, intuition awakens. And intuition is governed through your psychic senses. Belief systems can distort all of your different senses.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody who has a belief system about a dog or dogs in general develop that belief because when they were very young, a dog bit them, and they remain afraid of dogs. So all of their senses take information in when dogs are barking or dogs around and generate an internal experience of fear through their distortion of those senses. And in a similar way, there are ways that beliefs can distort this intuitive information. Intuition is experienced through your clairvoyance, seeing subtle energies, your clairaudience, hearing subtle messages, claircognizance, when you simply know something, and most importantly, your clairsentience, your feeling of something. Of course, everybody has a different degree as to which these senses are activated. We say clairsentience is almost the more important one because by tuning into it, you start to tune more into your emotional body, and that will help you live in a more authentic and self-directed way. So this intuition is the way that you are able to tap into energies beyond you. Your intuition is the more refined parts of your brain that pick up on non-local energy. When you are in the room with somebody, these parts of you are working whether or not you are conscious of it. You intuitively feel, sense, and know things about that person, like where they're at, how to engage with them, what they're thinking about, perhaps. These gifts become more active with time as you slow down and practice meditative states and different ways of enhancing your intuition through following your passion. And remember, we say that the most foundational and important aspect of your intuition is that feeling of excitement in your being. That is the expression of your intuition or your clairsentience, intuitive feeling that is magnetically pulling you to the experiences that are going to help you evolve and heal as a soul more than anything else. And therefore, your intuition becomes strengthened every time that you fall back into trusting that inner feeling in your heart and acting upon it.
Thank you for that profound explanation and story narrative for understanding. And my other question then, kind of as a follow-up, so back to your opening message about cooperating with discompatible beliefs, or being compatible with belief systems. If we are trying to reconcile a relationship whereby we were compatible at one point and not compatible anymore, but we have similar beliefs of the ultimate big, like for instance, a big belief, but we don't are not compatible anymore as far as the process or what's happening in the day-to-day. So would that be an example of a false positive that is occurring in this relationship, or in as far as being the compatibility of belief systems, if that makes sense?
Yes. If you have the same belief about the end result or the big picture, but not the same belief about the process, that would be incompatible. Because it's like you go on a road trip with someone who wants to take one path of getting there, but you really want to take the other path to get there. You want to get to the same place, but for different reasons, both of you want to go on a different path to getting there. And if you say you're going to go towards that same destination, ultimately one person is going to be resentful or not satisfied that they're not on the road that they wanted to be on. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. And so to that then, is this a matter of letting go? Is this an instance of letting go of insistence of outcomes, but it's okay to continue to have that belief out there, or that possibility of hope that you may converge again?
You can hope for it, but be in the present moment and recognize that in the present moment, that isn't your highest excitement. Are you able to see in the present moment that this relationship isn't your highest excitement, even though it was in the past?
Yes. Yes.
So let it go and be in the present moment. And if things change, you might cross roads again, but by forcing yourself to try to make it work when it isn't working, and attaching to yesterday's hopes and desires rather than being engaged in what is bringing you the most life and joy in this moment, you are the one letting yourself down.
Okay, that makes sense. And so that then goes back to what you were just talking about, as far as that knowing that letting go of, sorry, I'm confusing my thoughts. Okay, so
That's all right.
So then it goes back to being, I'm sorry, I've lost that thought. I'll get back to that. Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much, my love.
Our thanks to you as well. Yes, our love to you as well. Thank you. And let us know if you find the thought.
Thank you, I will.
Hi, Dante. I'm Pleiadian. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Last time we talked about meeting my hybrid children that I'm still very excited about, and I wondered if you might share anything new about that, the next step in that process. I've been visualizing them playing near me, and it's kind of fun to do so. But is there anything that you can share about everyone's upcoming experience of meeting their hybrid children and how that's going?
Do you stargaze?
Did you say Stargate? I've been doing the Hemistink Monroe gateway process for visualizing kind of out of body experiences and astral projecting and that kind of thing. Is that what you meant?
Though, do you go beneath the night sky and gaze at the stars?
Oh,
with
yes.
your two eyes? All right.
Yes.
Frequently?
Yes. Just recently got to go someplace very dark, and I said I'm seeing all of the stars, literally all of them. Stars I've probably didn't get to see before.
We encourage you to do this more often, and as you do it, meditate on the space in between the stars and connect with that sense of space through which all sound and light travels. And this space is a living field of energy that connects all beings. Contemplate how vast the stars are and send out a signal to all beings in your atmosphere who might want to connect with you, to present themselves. Open yourself to this and feel your passion for it. And you might start to see ships and light craft that appear. The ships that some of the hybrid children are on are now making themselves more visible so that they can send out signals to those of you who have the hybrid children connections to reach out to them. So this is what the next thing that we would encourage you to do in the process.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Oh, yes, thanks to you as well. And also having around some sort of a crystal or tektite that has come from space to your planet can help you in telepathic contact in general. These sorts of technologies or these sorts of materials can act like technologies or permission slips to help you get in contact with energies from space and from further beyond.
Hi, Pleiadians. Just wanted if you can check in with the channel if it's okay with the timer. Otherwise, I have saved quite a lot of questions in YouTube, maybe for next time.
We can take the rest of the Zoom questions and the most exciting and relevant questions to these topics from the YouTube questions.
Okay, yeah, I hate to be the judge on that, but
all right.
On the other hand,
well,
I feel
it's in
that
your
this
hands.
has been very, very complete today.
All right. Well, then we will continue this next time. We thank you very much for allowing this transmission to take place. There's been a great gift and blessing for us to be able to contact you in this way and open the gates between our realities. And we hope that you continue to help them open and continue to live in the deep depths of your heart, connected with your passion and joy, allowing it to ripple out to the world around you, knowing that it does ripple and reach people around you, even if you don't see it. So don't force it upon anyone. Instead, open yourself to connect much deeper with those who do resonate. Those are your bridges, and those bridges will open great tunnels of light, great corridors of light for even more people to come into resonance. You don't have to fight against the reality tunnels that don't represent the new earth. Recognize that eventually they will collapse because these many negative reality tunnels out there will get more and more divisive to some extent. They will get more and more narrow in their scope until eventually everyone will have to break out and see the bigger picture. Though we also want you to know that not every force influencing your collective consciousness is negative at this time. And there are many breakthroughs happening, especially with artists, filmmakers, musicians, and people of this nature who work through the mainstream to present alternative ideas that are slightly masked and covered up so as to not expose the great depths of their vision. And this ought to bring you to have hope, because hidden within the murkiness is the light and is the higher truth that will help people awaken. We thank you very much for allowing this transmission to be shared, and we ask you or invite you to have a fantastic rest of your day then. All right. How's everybody feeling?
Very,
Pretty
very, very
good.
good.
Thank you.
That was so amazing.
Wow.
Oh, glad to hear.
Wow, wow, wow.
It.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. Yeah,
How are you
it's a good
doing?
one, I guess.
Yeah.
Good, good. A little tired now,
Yeah, it was a lot.
but peaceful.
Good.
Yeah.
I Dante, I promised in the YouTube chat that I'm gonna clean up a transcription of this because I just felt it was so powerful and so well
Sweet.
rounded up about beliefs and yeah.
It already went through the
So
otter
cool.
thing, so it won't be that hard to do.
Yeah, I'm just gonna clean it up from that.
That's
So
excellent.
powerful.
Excellent, excellent. And good to see you after a while, Sal, or hear you. And thanks for joining again, Teresa. Yeah.
I almost forgot. Like, so busy in my life.
You almost forgot.
I know. I like
really
set
full?
an alarm finally, and I was like, I gotta attend this because I wanna join. I wanna see Dante.
Happy to hear from you again.
Yeah, it's been a crazy year. Just intense. Yeah, a lot of your content I listen to too. Like, you put like shorts on. I don't know if is it Instagram? I think so. Shorts.
Instagram, yeah.
Really, really cool shorts. Like, I want to share them with everybody when they're ready. I'm just right now just talking with a lot of people who are like curious of all the stuff I do, but at the same time, they're still like, very, they don't trust it. They don't trust, the concept of extraterrestrials and other things, or just spiritual concepts. Like, but
I understand.
That's Earth for you.
Well, I think it'll be great for you to get in contact with some groups in person of people who are, a step ahead of you, because I think online, like, you have people who are guiding you and teaching you, and then in person, if you're just always with people who are a couple steps behind you or maybe skeptical, it doesn't let you propel as far forward. And there's things like meetup.com that can have spiritual or even ET fascination groups on it. Even like Facebook is kind of weird, but sometimes there's like local groups where you can meet new friends or go to different things where people actually are meeting you where you're at, and that can be really refreshing, rather than trying to be a teacher all the time to people who might not want it or only want part of it.
Oh, they want it.
They want it?
They just don't know it.
Okay. That's true too. That is true.
I mean, like, I just feel like they keep asking questions too, and I'm like, okay, like, I tell you these things, it just like, it's like a block, and you could tell.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, what? They question, and it's just like, whatever. But yeah, thank you for that online suggestion. Definitely will look into it.
You're planting the seeds, though. You're planting the seeds, and they will grow one day.
Yeah, one in some multiverse, some parallel timeline, and they're just like, you're crazy, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, because I say stuff like that. they'll be like, I
Yeah.
lost this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, maybe it's another dimension, you know? And they're just like, oh my God, here we go again, now again. I'm like, what? It's true. Gosh. It's true.
It does
Like Ian
happen.
said, all truths are true.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to write a song called "Sowing the Seeds of Love," like with what you just said.
Oh yeah.
Because isn't that what we all want to do with this information?
Totally.
It's cool you mentioned that, they mentioned the thing about music and art. I just saw an interview with Lenny Kravitz today where he said something profound. He said that all his purpose was for his music was to amplify love. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm with you, Lenny, on that one.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, I guess a reminder to those watching on YouTube still, check out DanteStarshine.com for info on the sessions, the courses, the book, contact/book a session tab has also how you can donate if you want to support these sessions, and I appreciate it, but totally free, up to you. And yeah, we'll connect again next week, probably on Friday, maybe not Friday, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. But I'll be in Europe time. And so I don't know. I'm thinking that 7 p.m. European time is like 3 hours earlier. Ooh, I don't know if that's gonna work for everybody. I'll have to look at the calendar. I'm sorry. I just doing it too late in the day is a little bit hard on me. So in Europe, it is going to be a different schedule, which might be earlier for people in the States, but we'll hope to make it work for as many people as possible. And if you're in Berlin or Denmark, Italy, yeah, reach out to me and I might see you over the next 3 months.
Cool, thank you. Were you offering this somatic meditation or healing? What was it? I saw it post.
Oh yeah, the psychic somatic coaching. So this is like, I've been doing a lot of different sorts of healing work over time. You know, I one of the first healers I worked with was a psychic who could just tell people things just by looking at him, and working with him and another person led me into channeling and like having some of these psychic gifts myself. But I never really did just like psychic readings per se. And this offered like psychic somatic coaching. It's like we take psychic work, like I'm able to see something in your auric field, but then instead of me just telling you that, like now let's focus on that, because what really heals things is your ability to kind of feel that energy in your body, like emotionally, and sensation, like awaken the memory of where we're holding traumas or beliefs in our body. And then the coaching part is like after we've awakened that, we're listening to the sensations, this information in our body has messages for us too. And so we can decode that information. And then if, it leads to questions, it leads to being able to ask yourself, well, what is my truth? What is my path? How do I deal with these things that are coming up? And so it's also coaching, like working on guiding you to find your own inner truth. But it's an inner truth that's anchored in your body, anchored in that somatic. And I guess the difference between this and a psychic reading is that I'm helping you decide yourself. The difference between this and just a coaching session is that that psychic component is in, and oftentimes in coaching or therapy or sessions like that, the guide or the therapist is just there following your questions, following the information you bring in. But because it's psychic, it's like, I'm going to tell you what I see from the start. And having done a couple sessions of this, people have found it really helpful. And I feel like it's a new direction to kind of take my work. I've had some clients that I've done this type of work with exclusively for many years. but it hasn't really been something that I pushed or promoted till now. So I will eventually make the web page about it. I'm just really behind on all of my admin stuff because I've been doing a lot of gatherings and traveling over the past 2 months.
Cool. I was gonna look at your website to check it out, but I didn't see it. Just text
It's not
me
up there yet, but I'll try.
Yeah, just send me a message when you post it and all that stuff. I'll read to it and maybe book a session or so.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll let you know soon. You're welcome.
Okay, bye. Love you.
Bye. Love you too. Love everybody. Hugs. Blessings to all beings and all creation. And we'll catch you next time. Unless anyone has any last questions.
Oh, but thank you so much. Thank you again. Good to see you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
You too.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.